She's on the consent calendar.
I'll be good.
Issues with works
Okay.
or fisheries. So there's no public
Okay.
Get him up here. Bang the gavel.
Sorry. I lost track of time. Boy, it really banged that. Yeah.
Way to get after it.
The Board of Commissioners is the governing body of Clatsop County, all county service districts for which this body so acts. This is the first one I read, right?
Yep, you're doing great.
And as the Clatsop County Local Contract Review Board is now meeting in regular session. Shall we all rise to this, do the flag salute? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. This time is set for the, now we will, excuse me, roll call?
Roll call.
I'm just going to follow the little things and check them off. That'll be probably the best way.
Commissioner Webb,
Here.
Commissioner Sullivan,
Here.
Commissioner Aquila,
Here.
Commissioner Thompson, and Commissioner Nebaker are excused.
But we do have quorum, correct? Okay. Now we'll go to the agenda approval.
I make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The agenda is approved as presented. Now is the time for business from the public. This is an opportunity for anyone to give a 3-minute presentation about any item on the agenda except public hearings or any topic of county concern that is not on the agenda. The business from the public period will be limited to 30 minutes to ensure that everyone has a chance to comment. Oh, I don't see a large group out there, so we will move along. Do we have anyone on the, would like to speak tonight? Okay. Now we'll move down to the consent calendar. I was thinking I would like to remove one thing from the consent calendar, if that's okay with other folks. And it's just because I think it's a public service that I wanted to just bring attention to, as long as it requires just one motion. On the county mass notification system, would that be okay?
Yes.
Okay, so we would remove that and put it under the first item for, before the business agenda. Do I vote on that, or we just move along? Okay. And now it's time for the Commissioners' Liaison Reports.
You have to get a motion to.
Now we'll go back to approve the motion.
Make a motion to approve the consent calendar.
You made a motion.
Oh, I'm sorry. A second.
All those in favor of the consent calendar as it has been amended?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. The consent calendar has been approved. So now we will go on to the Commissioners' Liaison Reports.
Can I pass for a minute?
Commissioner Aquila, are you available to start?
Sure. Attended the Cedar Board meeting yesterday. Really healthy discussion about their strategic plan and all that Cedar has focused on and what Kevin Leahy has done with the group. Well attended. I was able to actually give some praise to Monica at the meeting, so I appreciated that. Again. But no, it was, I think that everybody is excited about looking for solutions for affordable housing, for economic development opportunities, and they had a very good discussion about healthcare and options for insurance. And Providence Seaside Hospital and Columbia Memorial Hospital are going to be part of that discussion moving forward. Good meeting. That's all I have.
Excellent, thank you.
Well, I have two great things to report. One of them is that last Saturday, we dedicated the mountain bike trail going from Clutchie Creek, and it was enormous fun, and it was there were several exciting things about it. You know, this is a partner, a true tri-partnership between one of our biggest timber landowners with the North Coast Mountain Bike Alliance, Trails Alliance. And actually, there are two of them at turn, there are two groups. And the county, and it has been fun. The Parks and Rec Committee has been sort of scoping out some ideas about how to improve Clutchie Creek, improve it, so that bikers can use it as a staging area. It's a neat park. 30 years ago, I used to, whenever my kids, when I was living in Portland, when we'd come to the coast, my kids always insisted on stopping to see the spruce tree. And after 2007, when the tree fell, the whole park just changed dramatically. It's no longer a forested park. It was startling to me when I first went back to it. So we're on the mend. It's a great partnership. The Trails Alliances will continue to improve the trails, and we will continue to improve the park, and the timber company will continue to allow access to their used logging roads. So it's really I just thought it was very cool. The other win I have for you is that the Public Health Department came to us a few months ago and asked to pursue a retail tobacco license. And I suggested to them a few weeks ago that we go to each of the cities because they were a little hesitant to put us on their agenda. And so last night, we had our last meeting with the city of Warrenton. And it's been interesting because these meetings have really been very revealing to me. It's very clear that a lot of the cities don't really know a lot about our public health services. And so Dr. McNichol and I are thinking that maybe what we need is a dog and pony show once a year or something to just let the cities, because we are their public health authority. So anyway, huge success. They've done great work, and they're hoping to be back to us by September with an ordinance. Lord willing, and the creek don't rise, and the county council signs off.
Thank you, Commissioner Webb. For myself, I attended the FDLIC meeting last week. I think it was last week, and then today I attended the Board of Forestry meeting down in Salem, and I do what I always do when I go down there, and just gave my support for a balanced forest plan and support for the exploration of the habitat conservation plan, which I think we need to think about as a harvest and habitat security plan. Because one of the things that a habitat conservation plan does is ensure that harvesting can continue, and it's very important. So I want to direct people to the Board of Forestry website. They have a list of the schedules, minutes, information about it, because this is a long process as they look at the forest management plan for the entire state, and as they look at the possibility of a habitat conservation plan. They are going to continue to have meetings with the Forest Trust Land Advisory Council Committee, but they also at the same time have public meetings, which are advertised, and they invite everybody to come and listen or to call in. Because they are dealing with the public's land, so it's important for people to stay tuned and get informed. In fact, they've added 2 more informational meetings about that on this calendar year because there's so much information that's going out there. So I encourage everyone to stay involved and pay attention to that. I also attended with Commissioner Webb the opening, the bicycle mountain bike trail up there, and it was a lot of fun. And I think it's a great example of the cooperation that can take place between business and government and citizen involvement group. And I believe is it the North Coast Trail Alliance? That has a wide spectrum of folks that are involved. It was so great to see the kids out there, to see families out there, getting out and enjoying the natural world. And I just can't, I'm just very proud of all the work that they do, and I encourage you to get involved with that also. Tomorrow I will attend the story, I've been on the Astoria Homelessness Task Force for about a year, and they have another meeting tonight, sometime today. I know I missed it. There's somebody who's doing tiny houses, I think, in Eugene, and he was in town today with a presentation, and he will also be presenting, he or she will also be presenting
Tomorrow morning.
tomorrow at the Homelessness Task Force, which starts at 9:30, and it's up at the college. And then I'm really excited about the Northwest Senior Disability Services meeting, their annual meeting that happens in Warrenton, so I don't have to be on the phone, is tomorrow also. So I will get to do that. So, and I can't think of anything else, so I will, with that, I'll end. Thanks. So I just want to click this. We're done with we're done with the commissioner liaison reports, but I have another check here. The county manager's report. County manager report, please.
So just to kind of give you an update on the jail project, on August 19th, the architect and engineering firm DLR will be coming back before us. So they had given you a book that was kind of like the pre-schematic, and in that there was a cost estimate, and that was based on our first meeting where we said if we could have everything we wanted a jail to have, what would it cost? And it came back, and of course it came in over budget. So now we have weekly meetings with our project manager, but then we've also been having about once a month meetings with DLR, and in those meetings they're bringing in, the last one we had, they brought in a food service person that kind of looks at the setup of the kitchen, the laundry room, the medical room. So they've been working with all the different programming aspects of it, and then kind of like, okay, what can we do without, what can we, things that we can do programmatically to try and bring the cost back down. So they'll be coming before us on August 19th and bringing before us a new budgeted number. And then after they have that number, we will be having our first Citizen Advisory Committee meeting. And so the Citizen Advisory Committee meeting, we'll get to start hearing some of that information as well. September 16th through the 20th, the Building Codes Division will be closed. The inspection staff will all be participating in a continuing education courses down in Wilsonville. And so they'll make sure that, they've begun advertising that they will be out those days so that hopefully it will have minimal impact. Just a reminder that the fair begins on July 30th. It opens daily at 10 a.m. The Midland concert is the Friday, August 2nd, with the gates opening at 5:30, and the 4-H and FFA auction is Saturday, August 3rd, beginning at 4 p.m., with a beef barbecue prior to that. Our juvenile director, who retired, who is here, he will officially be moving into retirement here in August. Our new juvenile director, Kelly Bratton, will begin August 1st. And then we also have a 39-year-old road maintenance, or 39-year employee. Sorry, he would love that I said he was 39 years old.
39 holding.
39-year employee. He's a road maintenance worker. Bruce Westerland is retiring at the end of this month, and so we will be celebrating his service tomorrow from 2 to 4 at the Astoria Crew Room. So that's all I have.
May I ask, when I'm on the website for the fair, does it end on Saturday?
It ends on Saturday the 3rd, yes,
Okay.
after the auction.
I've served beef out there for a couple of years, but I haven't got the request this year, so.
I can make
That's-
sure that,
I'll check with them.
yeah, I was going to say, if you, I'm sure that they're still looking for volunteers, because I know that they were asking if I
Yeah.
would be
So
available.
I recommend the experience to these other
Oh,
commissioners. I'm
it's
sure they've
great
never
fun.
done any kind of public,
Never served beef before?
you've never worked out there and that sort of things, have you?
No,
In your many years of public service, I bet you have never.
The county fair is my personal choice for the best 5 days in Clatsop County.
Yep.
So I'm excited.
Looking forward to the concert.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay, so thank you for the county manager's report, and we will now go into the public hearing. This is the time set for public hearing on the supplemental budget for the 2019-2020 fiscal year county budget. May we have the staff report?
So during the budget process, I made a whoops. And we have our bond payment that is going to be due on an annual basis. And when we were going through the budget process, we started that process in March, and we still hadn't gotten our payment schedule for our bond repayment. And so moving into the, budget committee meetings and all of that, when we finally did get our bond schedule, I spaced my mind. And so it is important for us to now go before the board and hold a public hearing so that we can amend the budget where we are able to levy for the bond, which was approved in November, as well as appropriate the $1,272,110 debt service payment. And so this is all per ORS 294.456. It's necessary for you to now hold the public hearing, take public comment, and then following that, if there's no opposition, I'm asking for you to repeal the RNO number 2019-060049 and replace it with Exhibit A1, adopting the budget for 2019-20 by organizational unit, imposing the taxes and categorizing the taxes and making appropriations for Clatsop County.
Are there any questions of staff?
Nope.
Is there any public testimony? I will now close the public hearing. Is there any discussion? I will entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that the board approve the resolution in order repealing RNO number 2019-060049 and replacing it with Exhibit A-1, adopting the budget for 2019-2020 by organizational unit, imposing taxes, categorizing taxes, and making appropriations for Clatsop County.
I second the motion.
Any discussion? Okay, let's take the roll call.
Commissioner Webb,
Aye.
Commissioner Quila,
Aye.
Commissioner Sullivan,
Aye. So the motion to approve the resolution and order repealing RNO order number 2019-060049 and replace it with Exhibit A1, adopting the budget for 2019 to 2020 by organizational unit, imposing taxes, categorizing taxes, and making appropriations for Clatsop County as passed. Okay, moving on to the business agenda. If the next thing on the agenda is our emergency manager, Tiffany Brown, on intergovernmental agreements for multi-jurisdiction. I'll let her handle that.
Multi-jurisdictional use of the county mass notification system. Thank you. I think the agenda summary explains the general idea of this. We've had Everbridge in place for 6 years now, and that's the software company that powers Clatsop Alerts. And the different members of different communities have been involved and been users from time to time. But last fall, we made it a goal to try to include all of the cities in using the system in a more formal way that we thought would bring better accountability to everybody involved. We have a great system. It has tremendous capacity, but we don't currently have a lot of people that know how to use it. And without adequate users, it doesn't have the potential to be the product that that we'd hoped it would. So this is great. This is one of the products of the city-county meeting that we started at the beginning of the year. Clatsop Alerts was one of our first priorities for those partnerships. All four of the 5 cities have already signed the agreement. Astoria still has to sign, but has it on their agenda. And just today, I met with the work group out at the county EOC, and we started talking about the marketing between now and September, which is when we're going to schedule the first countywide alert that we've had in some time using the system. We're updating the marketing materials. One of the city partners agreed to take on updating a bookmark that we've used routinely over the last 6 years to include a tiny URL so people can get to the site quickly, a QR code so that they can just scan it and get there. So it's very exciting, very exciting. So you can expect to see the first countywide alert in September during Preparedness Month and quarterly thereafter. And I'll be excited to share with you sort of the marketing products that we come up with in the next month or so.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions? I guess my question is that this will allow eventually all the cities in the unincorporated areas to be speaking the same language, correct?
Well,
mean,
yes,
the same,
yes.
they'll
You know,
be the
they've
same
all
way.
had access to the system all along. But everyone kind of used it individually. And so what this does is sort of brings a standardization. There's a lot of citizen confusion about notification systems. Lots of people are signed up for several of them and don't really know how they function. And so what we wanted to do was encourage this multi-jurisdictional use before cities started venturing out to get their own systems. And what we agreed to was to really make it a multi-jurisdictional system that highlighted all, so they all have their own piece of it and their own ability to maintain independence, but it encourages us to speak with one voice whenever that's most appropriate, like during disasters. And so the agreement outlines some of that. I want to clarify that the system has 2 portals. There's an internal function that we use for the agency, for the county. Every employee's in there with their contact information so that we could send them information and alerts. And then the other side is public facing, and that's where people get on the county website to register themselves. And we have about 20,000 residents in that registry currently.
Wow, that's great.
Wow, that's fantastic.
It's climbing again. It was about 19 when we started, and then the landline numbers started to decline, and we're seeing the cell phone numbers start to make up for that. So that's great. It's kind of it's a little bit of a wicked problem with the system that we can get the landline numbers just by ordering them, but people have to opt in themselves to get their cell phone numbers. And because that's the most common phone that people use these days, that's become sort of a challenge. What I can tell you is that the system also gives us access to the federal WEA, EAS, that's where you get Amber Alerts, and we also have the ability to check a box in that system and send our message out through those federal channels. So it's quite robust.
That's great, thank you.
Thank you.
So do I hear a motion for this? Correct, I have to do that? We have to do
Sorry,
that?
since it was pulled from the,
It's on page 105.
I moved that we approve the intergovernmental agreement for cities for multi-jurisdictional use, Clatsop Alert, to use Clatsop Alert, the county mass notification system.
I second.
Okay, we have a motion to approve, any discussion? Okay, we have a motion to approve we approve the intergovernmental agreements with cities for use, Clatsop Alert, the county mass notification system. May we have the roll call, please?
Commissioner Quila,
Aye.
Commissioner Webb?
Aye.
Commissioner Sullivan?
Aye. So it has passed. Do I need to read it again?
No.
No, thank you. All right, and going down to the first, the next issue on the business agenda is increasing Westport Sewer District Service District rates on page 225. Here we have the staff report.
So the increase of the rates to the Westport Sewer District is, as outlined in the informational summary, is because of the higher expenses that it's taking to operate the plant. Our DEQ permit, actually, we just got our new DEQ permit that's requiring more testing, and they're requiring us to move our outfall of the plant to another spot because of the recreational use where it comes out right now. And so those are increased costs, plus we need to be building a contingency, and we're not really able to do that now. It's actually going down because of things that happen in the plant and the expense of those things. So just running a little tidbit on the expense of things. It costs quite a bit to have an operator with a license. The expense of our UV units that take care of disinfecting, they're very expensive. Just the bulbs in those are $500 a piece, and the tubes that, it's about a $700 material change out if something happens to them. So we have or 2 units of 4 bulbs each. So those things happen from time to time. We've been able to stabilize it a little bit lately, but we also have to make improvements to our pH, and it can't be a manual system like we've had. They want it mechanical. So that's a very expensive item to install in the plant to control the pH. If you see the reports, they kind of fluctuate from time to time, and it depends on how much effluent is coming through the system. During big rainfall, the plant's pH stabilizes a little bit, but when it's low rainfall, then the pH is harder to control. So those are some of the reasons why we need to increase the rates. We haven't done it in a long time. It is a substantial amount of rate increase. We did have a public meeting and had information provided to the public. No one came to those meetings, which is disappointing, because we'd like to inform them more and give them the information that we have. But no one came to those meetings, so we still need to have an opportunity here this evening for a public comment on this. And the rates are not all at once, they're kind of in increments, and we did a study of the rates in other areas like the city of Astoria, city of Warrenton, and city of Seaside and Arch Cape, and quite a few, and just did an average of what it was, and I think the average was like $64 or $65, and so we're falling, I think it's starting off at 53, and then making increments in the next 4 to 5 years to where it goes up to $60 in about that time period, in about a 5-year period.
Does anybody have questions?
I had just one. So you did the survey, it said 3475 was the lowest. Is that Westport is the lowest currently? as far as
No,
rates?
I think the city of Seaside is the lowest. Yeah.
You mentioned the I&I issue, or I guess the heavy rainfall events.
Yeah.
So is there any effort to try to limit I&I into the system?
Yes, we're making efforts to do it. We've done it in the past. We started with infiltration studies, and we're going to continue doing that this year, working our way through the system. We did find, when we did some of those infiltration studies, that we had some broken septic tanks. They're fiberglass tanks with a large concrete weight basically on top of them. And because that area is kind of inundated with tidal influence, really, or groundwater, it creates that effect on those type of older tanks, and they can break easily.
Yeah.
So we've replaced many, but we're continuing with our infiltration studies, yeah.
So if I may ask, it sounds like as time has gone on, because they haven't increased the fees since 2005,
Right.
so that's a long time ago.
It's a long time. We really should have done it sooner. It would have been less of an impact. And those expenses have been continually climbing over the years, so.
Is some of it is as time goes on, there are different requirements to how we treat sewage?
Yes, we went from a chlorinating system that was very inexpensive to operate to a UV system. And that UV system, I think it was like $1.5 million.
Well, we got a grant, we learned we got grants for part of it, but then
We
we
got-
have a loan for $1.5 million.
Yeah, we have a loan for $1.5 million, and we did get grants to take care of some of it, yeah.
So you did explore other options to help keep the fees reasonable?
Yes, but we also are tied to DEQ's requirements. So there's not a lot of options. We could have went possibly, the city of Hebo has a system similar to ours, and they have a local person in the community that has taken this on, but they still have to get their inspections done through Orenco, which that's the supplier of those type of things, and that's very expensive to have one of their licensed operators oversee the plant.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you.
I guess I'm concerned about the 35% first-year increase. And if people didn't come to the public meeting, is there a way that we can, I can't say soften the blow, but send something out that is a highly good, well-prepared information packet about why this is happening?
Yeah, we sent them all with their sewer bills, an invite to this meeting, and gave some explanation. And we can do more.
Well, it just seems like a 35% increase, especially, that's not exactly an economically robust area.
No.
I think this could be pretty devastating for a lot of people. I know if my sewer bill went up 35%, I'd notice it.
Yeah, and it does affect some, they don't see a bill because they pay rent, and so it's part of their rent. That's,
Okay.
yeah, so the trailer parks, they don't get necessarily a sewer bill, they just, it's part of their rent. And there's a lot of rental places there.
So when you sent a notice out with the bills, did you talk about the future rate increases in it?
It was about the rate increases. I'm not sure, I can't remember if it gave these facts. I can look back at that and get back to you on
I
that.
just think it might be a good idea, it's worth the postage to.
They did inform them of the increase. They did inform them, I just can't remember how it was formatted.
As long as this doesn't hit people by surprise.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it went to the owners of the homes. So like I said, with a lot of rentals, that's going to have to be worked out differently to the renter.
Right.
And I know that there are various concerns for the whole area out there.
Yeah.
And what I'm hoping to have put into the amendment is that we continue to look for funding to support some of that ongoing infrastructure improvements.
Yeah.
So,
We're working on that right now working with Business Oregon and trying to get some grants to be able to help with those things.
okay, all right, thank you. I know no one likes to raise rents or raise fees, but my understanding, there isn't a lot of choice in this matter.
Nope.
Entertain a motion?
First,
Sorry, any discussion?
First, just ask if there's any comment from the public, because this is raising a fee. You have to call for public comment, and it's just a call for comment. Is there any comment from the public?
Is there any public input? Please come forward and give your name and address for the record.
Thank you. The record will reflect that.
Okay, thank you. I will entertain a motion.
I move the board approve the resolution in order to increase the sewer service fees of the Westport Sewer Service District pursuant to ordinance number 86-9, and to continue to explore opportunities for grants and other sources of funding for ongoing infrastructure improvements.
Second.
We have a motion. Any discussion? All right, we have a motion in front of us to approve the resolution in order to increase the sewer service fees of the Westport Sewer Service District pursuant to ordinance number 86-9, and to continue to explore opportunities for grants and other sources of funding for ongoing infrastructure improvements. May I have the roll call, please?
Commissioner Webb?
Aye.
Commissioner Aquila?
Aye.
Commissioner Sullivan?
Aye. The motion passes. Okay, so let's go on to the second, or the third item of business agenda. Consider the vacation of a portion of the town plat of North Pacific Edition. May we have the staff report, please?
Good evening, Vice Chair Sullivan, members of the board. My name is Vance Swinson. I'm the county surveyor. The issue I have for you tonight is to consider the vacation of a portion of the town plat of North Pacific Edition, specifically accepting Roadmaster's report, consider waiving a public hearing for and approving the vacation of a portion of North Pacific Edition in timberland east of Claremont Road. On April 9th of this year, we received a petition from Warrenton Fiber Company to vacate a portion of the town plat of North Pacific Edition. This old plat was done in 1890. The portion of the plat that they're petitioning is entirely on land that's owned by Warrenton Fiber Company. It's also surrounded completely by their land. An old plat like that is created a lot of time. We have a lot of them like that were unfortunately created before we had a lot of land use regulation or really considered them. Today, if there was a dedication of a street, there would be an acceptance or denial of county or city. Back then, they could just dedicate it to the public regardless. This is North Pacific Edition is one that is like that. It was done probably sight unseen, just a paper plat over terrain that really, if you went and looked at it, wouldn't be developable, and that's why it's not developed today. The streets are their easements, rights of way to the public at large. The right to use someone else's property without owning it is what an easement is. So the vacation of those streets is just lifting away those easements, revealing the Warrenton Fiber ownership that already exists underneath them. Another part of the vacation of that portion is just erasing the lots and blocks to clean up that, so it'll be a nice clean slate when it's done. We've received the signature of 100% of the owners, that being only one, Warrenton Fiber. We received the fee for the vacation. Community Development has reviewed the petition and supports the vacation. Inside the packet, you'll see the Roadmaster's report supporting the vacation. On May 22nd of this year, the commission accepted the petition and ordered the Roadmaster's report. We notified all of any possible affected utilities. Obviously, it's in the middle of nowhere. we received no responses, which indicates that there's no objection. Pursuant to state statute, a public hearing may be waived if 100% of the affected landowners sign the petition. In this case, they have. There's no fiscal impact, it's just the cost of administering the vacation. So the options to consider are to accept the roadmaster's report, waive the public hearing, approve the road vacation, and authorize the chairperson to sign the order vacating a portion of the town plat of North Pacific Edition. It's option 1. Option 2 is to not waive the public hearing and continue the road vacation at a future meeting. And number 3 is to deny the road vacation. And our recommendation is option 1. Is there any questions?
I have a question.
Sure.
On the map that you gave us where you had all the different plats, they're only asking for a vacation of some of them. Does that mean there's the possibility of more vacations coming, or?
Yes, and we talked about that and recommended, I kind of described this earlier. There's lots of town plats like this, and just as a matter of course, the county would love to get rid of these old streets. They're something that we have to administer. They're not being used for the proper purpose. So I presented that option. Hey, would you consider vacating more? It's really the petitioner's choice. I think just for simplicity, they chose a portion. And the reason they chose the portion that you see, it's kind of an odd looking piece, is they had done kind of this property line adjustment. And so the property to the south of this North Pacific Edition kind of encroaching isn't the right word, but just kind of encompasses part of the plat, the part that you see. So that's really all they're really interested in getting rid of. And it's part of, they've got some wetlands that they're developing in there, and they can't have, per some regulations, they can't have those platted, unbuilt streets there, rights of way.
So my imagination is that these plats are like when someone, these are all over the United States, and if some, correct? Or just
I
in
assume,
Oregon?
yeah.
So once someone has registered these plats, they're on the government record, and
Yep,
Oh,
there's
interesting.
the plat over in the vault right now, and as those streets are a permanent dedication, and really the only way to get rid of them, if it was a private easement, you'd go to the owner of the easement and talk with them. Well, if it's the public at large, then it's a representative of the public. In this case, it's been designated through state statute and ORS 368, representatives of the public outside of the city limits would be Board of Commissioners, so.
okay, thank you. Does anybody have any other discussion or questions?
Well, just experience in Warrenton, and Warrenton's platted, the whole city platted. And unless there's a real public benefit of keeping an easement or a road in there, there's just, I mean, I think this is a bookkeeping issue more than anything, or housekeeping, or however you want to typify it. But certainly, I think that this is something that we should approve, and we'll probably see more of them.
Yeah.
Okay. Seeing no more questions, I will entertain a motion.
I'd move to accept the roadmaster's report, waive the public hearing, approve the resolution in order vacating a portion of the town plat of North Pacific Edition, and authorize the board chair to sign the resolution in order.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion to accept the roadmaster's report, waive the public hearing, approve the resolution in order, vacating a portion of the town plat of North Pacific Edition, and authorize the board chair to sign the resolution in order. May I have the roll call, please?
Commissioner Webb?
Aye.
Commissioner Aquila?
Aye.
Commissioner Sullivan?
Aye. And the motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
And now the final business on the business agenda is the Columbia Beach Lane sheet pile wall construction. Welcome back.
So Commissioners, we're we've scheduled to reconstruct Columbia Beach Lane, and there's a portion of Columbia Beach Lane that has basically a restricted area, constricted area from a dune that we pass through, the road passes through. So in order for us to widen the road at that point and then provide better access for pedestrians as well as utilities, we've chose to put in a wall to shore up the sides of those dunes so we can have the complete 40-foot right-of-way usable for traffic, pedestrians, and utilities. So we did a competitive invitation to bid, and Bergeson Construction came in as the low bidder. And so we're asking your approval to have a contract with Bergeson Construction.
Does anyone have any questions for the staff?
My biggest question is that there's a really big difference between the high and the low bid. Please tell me that that's because Bergerson is the only one of these that's local?
That's a good reason. Mobilization costs is probably the biggest.
Okay,
It
so
can go from, with Bergeson, they're local, so it's, I'm not sure what those mobilizations were. I think it was in the $10,000, $20,000 range. We've had them up to $75,000 in some of the other bids. So that's going to have a big impact on where they come from and what their workload is like. Trying to squeeze this in might be, it'll cost.
So we're lucky to have a company in our area that does this type of work.
Absolutely.
Yes, yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Any other questions? Okay, I will entertain a motion. Thank you.
I move the board approve a contract with Bergerson Construction, Inc. in the amount of $249,457 for construction of sheet pile wall and authorize the county manager to sign the contract.
Can I apologize, but the bid, there's two different amounts listed here. The bid amount was $259, but it's saying in the motion to read
Oh, you're right.
$249. There's a typo there.
I'm going to hit the hammer for a do-over.
Well, the contract is for the 249,
Oh, is it?
457.
Okay, sorry, I apologize.
So,
We just noticed.
Yeah, we were
the-
going to let that go because the
Okay.
contract.
Do-over.
Okay, sorry. We saw that and we just wanted to make sure the right amount was getting right.
So let me just be clear because there might be a little confusion. So,
The motion is correct because the contract is for the 249, 457.
Okay.
oh, I see, up above it was just a
Typo up
typo.
above.
Instead of 259, it's actually 249. Correct. Okay.
So do we need a second?
Do you want to finish reading the motion?
Oh, I thought I did.
Oh, you had?
Do you want me
Okay.
to, I can read it again.
Why don't you go ahead and do that?
I move the board approve a contract with Bergerson Construction Incorporated in the amount of $249,457 for construction of a sheet pile wall and authorize the county manager to sign the contract and any amendments.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All right, there's a motion to have the board approve the contract with Bergeson Construction Incorporated in the amount of $249,457 for construction of sheet pile wall and authorize the county manager to sign the contract and any amendments. May we have the roll call, please?
Commissioner Webb?
Aye.
Commissioner Aquila?
Aye.
Commissioner Sullivan?
Aye. The motion passes. Okay, we are, anything good for the order, good of the order?
I have one thing.
Okay, Commissioner
Got
Wheeler?
about an hour and a half, so if I can. No, I wanted, because I did read about Sheriff Bergen's announcement, I just kind of reflecting, when I ran for office the first time in the city of Warrenton, he was running for sheriff for Clatsop County. And he was really refreshing, blunt, obviously, you know, his it was a refreshing demeanor that he had when he was campaigning, and certainly I've appreciated his blunt and assessments of everything that's been going on, and that's what I want. I want to have someone that talks straight and tells you exactly what's going on, and he's just been a great sheriff. I just really appreciate his service to Clatsop County. Going to miss him here at Clatsop County, and so that's all I wanted to say.
Well, thank you very much, Commissioner Aquila. I was thinking also that, you know, this is an area that's within transition, and we have had a number of folks that have given a lot of years to this county that have transitioned out in the last few years. It would be interesting to see a list of people that have transitioned to other jobs or to retirement, or retired and then moved back into different positions. So I think we have a lot of good people that are helping us with running our county. Anything else for the good of the order? I want to make note that it is 6:51, and we are calling the meeting, we're adjourning the meeting. Thank you.
Let this be a precedent.